Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show. I am on a little trek right now in my little beachy urban town. And so there's cars passing by and drawbridges coming up and down. One of the things that's really alive for me right now is motherhood. And becoming a mother was the catalyst for my growth in a number of ways. A decade plus ago, my oldest is almost 11. As you're listening to this, she's like about a month away. So thinking about the past 11 years, even conceiving and carrying her for 42 weeks, to be exact, changed me from the inside out. It wasn't an easy journey, and it's interesting in a lot of ways. It's taken this long to really solidify what I want to talk about in this setting. I've been behind the scenes talking to moms and community members and soul sisters, even my own family, to unravel the story I had about motherhood and rewriting a new story, an empowering story, a grace-filled story, a loving story, unconditional love, right? So, and I'm going to be really real. I still get cringy when I come on here to talk to you about motherhood. And I'm going to tell you why. So we as humans, as smart, discerning women, most of us, we want to see proof. We want to see the 3 research studies back it up, and we want the sources cited, and we want to see proof. And I get that because when I sign on to work with a coach, I just got done with an amazing podcasting coaching training thingy with Ryann. Shout out to Sharday. She is amazing, and she is walking the talk. So I got done. And one of the things I asked before I joined her program was, what are some tangible results that other people have seen? And of course, she listed, a number of different results that the women she worked with had seen. And when I am walking here, talking about motherhood and really sharing the wisdom, not only that, but just like when I'm not on here talking to you and I'm actually embodying what I'm talking to you about by holding space for the tantrum and holding space for the tween big feelings, holding space for the various challenges that my kids are going through on a daily basis. I want you to know that it's in those moments that the work is really being put to the test. It's easy I always say to my closest girlfriends and my husband, like, I'm a really good mom when I'm not with my kids. Like, it's so easy to be a mom when I'm not with my children. And it's easy to look at motherhood through rose-colored glasses. And that's why when older women usually approach you, if you have little kids, I'm sure you've heard this a number of times. I've heard it zillions of times. When they see you with your little kids out in public, maybe they're acting like little angels and maybe they're not. And they'll tell you, savor this. It goes so fast. Enjoy every minute, they'll say. And that's why they're saying that, because they don't have little fucking kids anymore. So they're not having to hold the space for the tantrums, and they're not having to be in the day-to-day of it. One of the principles of motherhood that I live by and walk by and breathe by daily, and sometimes I forget, but one of the principles when I remember is the time is now. There is no future when things will be easier because the kids are this age and that age and out of diapers and in school or out of school or this or that. There is no other time than right now. And one of the things we can do in our super high-speed modern day society is rushing through to get to the next thing, rushing through tasks, rushing through routines, rushing. And we forget that right now is the time. You don't get a shot to reparent your kids at 4 and 8 and 10 years old. I'm saying this to you as much as I'm saying it to myself. We don't get another shot to parent our kids at these ages in these days. There will never be another one of these days. This is the day. What comes to mind is like, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. You can tell I went to Catholic school and Catholic church growing up most of my life because that's the immediate thought that followed for me. And it's true. Like, this is the day. Can we find joy in each other as families? Can we find joy in our closest relationships? One of the things that was implied in my family growing up is that most joy is to be found outside of the home, in the milestones and the big events and the graduations and the birthdays and the big stuff. Joy is to be found out there. And if we peel that back, like I have, we can see that all we're left with is today, is the now. And if that means working through challenges, or that means, just basking in the joy of the mundane and the content, maybe basking in the joy of a pot of soup on the stove, or a clean home, or a messy home, or kids that are hitting milestones, or kids that aren't. Basking in the joy. I'd even add here, basking in contentment. Can I be content today? Can I find small joys today? And so when we talk about discerning and wanting proof before we really listen to what somebody has to say, what comes to mind for me is that my kids are still pretty young. And from an outside perspective, I don't have like grown kids out of the house who are thriving, successful, fulfilled, etc. So I'm not standing here saying like, look, I've done this. Like, I know that it works. But what I will tell you is that I have walked through the fire. And when my oldest was about 5 months old, got diagnosed with acute postpartum depression, anxiety, whatever the mainstream system wanted to call it. And since then, I've alchemized the various challenges that have come along and, quite transparent, continue to come along in each season as my kids get older, as I evolve and grow into someone new, as my relationship with my husband evolves and grows into something new and more beautiful, quite honestly. As I walk through the fire of motherhood, I feel the transformation, and I do not say the right thing all the time. I do not do the right thing all the time. I'm not an ascended master. I don't nail it every time. And I think we do this in so many areas of our lives. I don't know about you, but I consider myself at this juncture like a pretty ambitious woman. Like, I want the business and the successful podcast. And there are dreams and desires in my heart that are taking place, quote unquote, outside of the home. And so if you're anything like me, you might be stopping yourself from doing what you're meant to be doing because you don't have any proof yet. And what I am here to tell you is that you are the living proof. The various fires that you've walked through, the various traumas that you've alchemized, that is your message. That is your meaning. And if you want, you could call it your purpose. You could call it your mission. So if I can be so bold to ask you, sister, what is stopping you from walking in your mission every single day? Maybe there's something stopping you from even realizing or acknowledging that you have a mission. You are here for a reason. It is not random. It is not random that you are listening to this right now. It is not coincidental that you clicked on this episode to hear this message. I'm going to tell you what my beloved yoga teacher says when someone shows up into class and it's a little bit of a different or challenging set or kriya as she calls it in Kundalini class. She says, you came here. This was your choice. You landed here. You showed up. You said yes. You consented to this. So if you showed up here on this walk with me, you consented to it. You said yes. What is stopping you? I know for years what stopped me was doubt, fear, uncertainty, really old stories, limiting beliefs, right? All the stuff that was not serving. And I would go even further to say that the entire belief that because I don't have the proof of 3 raised children who are thriving, successful, et cetera, still sometimes stops me and still gets in my head. Ooh, should I really say that? Who am I to say that? Who am I to talk about this? And I'm going to tell you what I told a beloved soul sister the other day. I've heard this reflected back to me in a number of different ways, but I'm going to say it to you the only way I know how. And that is, who are you to keep your gift, your gold, your message from the world? Each time you choose silence, each time you choose complacency, perceive safety, each time you choose that, someone who needs to hear what you have to say, who needs to buy what you have to offer, who needs the guidance that only you can give to them, misses out. And I want to be really real with you. The Rise and Flourish Summit I co-hosted in October, we almost quit a number of different times because it was too hard and we were too busy and we'd never done it before and it was uncertain and who are we to do this and all the things that come up. We almost quit. But every time we talked about it, every time we talked about how those 40 women who were going to show up for themselves to be open and poured into, every time we would go back to the energy of the room, the magic of it, we got so excited. And we said, we can't stop. We have to keep going. This is a mission. This is a calling. We're doing this because we believe that healthy and happy mothers and women create happy and healthy homes and communities. And the ripple effect that goes out from there then aligns with my mission, which is I believe we can change the world by starting at home. So what are you believing? What mission are you playing out in your daily life? Are you putting yourself on the back burner? Are you putting your dreams on the back burner because there's going to be a better time in the future? There is no other time. There is only right now. And if you want to take action on your dreams, now is the time to do it. I'm not saying to blow up your life. I'm saying that small, intentional action in the direction of your North Star. It's time to start now, sister. It's time. And I want to tell you, I've heard from numerous women who have been witnessing the magic and the miracles that have been unfolding in their lives. One of the attendees ran into one of the speakers at a yoga class. It was like, oh my gosh, I usually don't talk to anybody in yoga. And look, this speaker was here and I talked to her and it was such a magic moment. She called me and she's like, you're not going to believe what happened. I'm like, of course I believe that happened because you've opened yourself to your fulfillment. You've opened yourself to miracles. You said yes to yourself. When you see synchronicities like this in your life, you are on the right path. You are on the journey that your soul is meant to take. Another woman who attended the summit has ideas, big ideas, out with the old, in with the brand new ideas that have been on her heart for years, maybe even decades, is that she is finally ready to take action on ideas that will serve our local community of young girls. So if you want to get into the room when we do another event in person or a virtual event, we've got some ideas bubbling up in the background for the spring of 2026. So if you're feeling that tug on your heart, if you got goosebumps like I did at any point in this conversation, head to raisingwildhearts.com/rise. And I'm going to share one more example with you from my own life. The summit was on a Saturday. I had pretty much like constant goosebumps coming and going for about 48 hours. The energy of the women, the collective, the sponsors, the speakers, the magic, the gifts, the talents, the pure greatness of that just lingered in my system, which was really a clue for me to look at my life and say, this is something that completely filled me up. It was mostly in my zone of genius. And I went into this saying, you can ask my husband, I'm not an event planner. I don't know how to plan events. I don't like planning events. How am I going to plan an event? This is so hard. This is so weird. This is so different. And walked out of that room Saturday knowing that I had just stepped into another level of my potential, another level of my business, another level of my podcast, another level of my personal life, my relationship, my motherhood. And I didn't know it like in my brain. Like I know that that was so good because this, that, and this. It was a knowing, an inner knowing. And if I hadn't been doing the work that I've been doing for the past 11 plus years, I would have never gotten to this place, building up small capacity time after time with each very small, very intentional decision that I made. And some decisions were mistakes and some decisions were the right move, but I just kept going. And if you looked at a line graph for my life and my purpose, my vision, my fulfillment, it's certainly trending up. I'm so excited to potentially welcome you into our next event. When you sign up for the waiting list, you're going to get access to my brand new free 3-part video mini series. And this was so much fun to make because I've taken a lot of the things that I've done and put it in a bite-sized series for you. And so it's 3 15-ish minute videos that are tiny, but they pack a punch. And one of the things that I'm gifting everybody who finishes the mini series is a free one-on-one 20-minute clarity call with me. There's no expectations for this call. I'm not going to pitch you anything. It's not a sales call. I don't have an offer that I'm holding out. When I do have an offer, I will let you guys know. But it's really to explore, honestly, like potential collaborations, potentials for podcasting magic, potentials for partnerships. Also, I really want to hear what you're making. I really want to hear how you're impacting your little corner of the world, right? The mission here is changing the world by starting at home. And whether that's your personal mission or not, big change starts small. And so even if you're making small strides, I'd love to hear about them. It brings me so much joy and just so much fulfillment to see what's going on with the beautiful souls who are here in this community for a reason. So I loved this chat with you. This was super fun. I might show up like this again. I don't know. But until next time, go love someone well.